Hi, Vicki Williams here. I'm going to do a little lecture before you start your Lewis Structure Lab to help you out. And let's go to the whiteboard so that I can give you some instructions. So the first thing you're going to fill out is the valence electrons. And the way you find these is by the group number for each atom. So for example, if we do CH4, carbon is in group 4, so it has 4 valence electrons. And then I have 4 hydrogens. Each hydrogen is in group 1, so I have a total of 8 electrons for CH4. And this is how I want you to write it so I can see that you understand 4 hydrogens give us 1 each for a total of 8. And carbon gives us 4. So the second step on drawing Lewis structures is to put the atom we have the least of in the middle and put all the other atoms around it. So I only have 1 carbon, so I'm going to put carbon in the middle, and I'm going to put the hydrogens around it. Now, each dot is 1 electron, but we have another shorthand we can use. If we have 2 dots between atoms, we can use a dash instead to show that as a bond with 2 dots. We can show a double bond as having 4 dots or 2 dashes. And we can show a triple bond as having 6 dots or 3 dashes. So that's part of the code we're going to be using for Lewis structures. So I'll let you take a look at that for a while, make sure you've got it down, and then I'll finish drawing this structure. So remember, each dot is 1 electron, each dash is 2. So I'm going to use the dashes and make bonds between these 5 atoms. I'm going to bond carbon to each of the hydrogens. So step 3 is to count the electrons again. And I have 2, 4, 6, 8. So I can check mark that. If you had electrons left over, you would arrange the electrons around the outer atoms. So we don't have to do that here. And our goal is for each atom to have an octet. Each atom should have 8 electrons, except hydrogen, because it has 1 orbital, it can only have 2 electrons. So if I look at each hydrogen in my drawing, it's sharing 2 electrons with carbon. And so each hydrogen is fulfilled. So each H has 2, and hydrogen can never have more than 2. Never more. And then my carbon has 8 electrons or an octet. And the whole reason these guys share electrons is because they all want to have that magical number 8 electrons, except for hydrogen, which is just 2. Okay. And then for the molecular geometry, the bond angles and the bond polarity, you're going to look those up in your labs. Let me do another example here because I think I have more instructions for you. So step 4 would be to use double or triple bonds if needed. And that's if you can't figure out how to get all atoms experiencing 8 electrons, then you may need to use a double or a triple bond if needed. I just wanted to raise that up for you for a minute. I want to do CS2 as the next Lewis structure, so I can show you how you'd use number 4 and number 3. So again, I'm going to put carbon in the middle, and I'm going to put a sulfur on each side. And I forgot to add up my valence electrons. So carbon has 4. Sulfur is in group 6. So each sulfur brings 6 electrons. So that's 12 plus 4 is 16 electrons. So I need to have 16 electrons in my picture before I'm done. And I need to have everyone feel like they have 8 electrons. So I'm going to start by making single bonds between the carbon and sulfur. And then I'm going to put electrons on until I run out. So I have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. So, okay, I've used all my electrons, but is this the correct structure? And the answer is no, because this carbon only has 4. I should stop using that red one. Carbon only has 4 electrons. So now I'm going to have to use double or triple bonds to see if I can get carbon feeling like it has more than 4 electrons. So if I erase a pair from each sulfur and make 2 double bonds with carbon, then carbon has 8 electrons and each sulfur has 8 electrons. So now I have the correct Lewis structure.